All right, hello, Team Travis Allen. I just want to review the mobile version of the system. This is something for those that are walking in the field. This is what they're going to see. This is their view from their phone, their iPad, or their tablet. So when they initially log in, the location they log in is at a website called voter.mobi, voter.mobi. If you have credentials from the campaign to access the system, this is where you will access that tool. If you do not have credentials to access the system, make sure that you request that of the campaign. If you want to check to see if you have credentials in the system, go to portal.votergravity.com. Underneath the login area, there's a place to reset your password. You'll just put in your email and walk through the password reset process. Assuming that works, you'll have access to the system. If it does not work, you don't have credentials in the system and need to request them from the campaign, or a local team leader can help you out. All right, so just getting back to what we're going to see on our phones. Open up your browser and go to voter.mobi, voter.mobi. All right, so this is what you initially see when you log in. And so one of the first things you're going to need to do when you're connected to home Wi-Fi or in an office is basically update everything, because as you can see, there's nothing initially assigned. So in this respective account, I'm going to click the sync button, which is what I've done, and now you can see any lists that have been assigned to you. So then, just to check the list, you also want to, there could be 2 or 3 or 4, maybe even 5 or more lists. Click on the list. At this point, this particular list has been added to the phone. So if you need to walk an area that doesn't have very good mobile coverage, or you just don't feel like having your data on because you want to save battery from location and data usage, that's fine too. Airplane mode or turn the mobile data off, whatever works for you. This will absolutely work without an active mobile signal, but you just have a few less tools. But just make sure, again, every time that you log in, hit the sync button, and then you'll have the most up-to-date lists, and click on a list to make sure it is cached onto your actual device so you can use it on or offline. All right, so now let's take a look at what we're going to experience when we're actually in the field. So you go to somewhere close to this first address, and then you can take a look at the map here at the bottom. It's just at the bottom of the screen, and take a look at where you're going. Certain streets, just kind of get a sense of what's going to happen and what you're going to need to do today. And any given user has the ability to say, well, I want to sort this in a specific way that makes a little bit more sense to me based on what I'm seeing. So the default are alphabetical by street, and then odds and evens grouped together on those respective streets. But if you say, I'd like to just go numerically, you select house number. Or maybe you say, I just want to select a very specific street. I'm only going to do a couple streets today, for instance. Hit the save button, and I'm just going to do these, and that's it. And you could have 30, 40 houses that you need to knock out in those respective streets. If that's the case, you have the ability to select those streets here. So just one single button, it's under filter, and then you can choose a couple different views and a couple different methods under which you can access the list, always keeping in mind this map's going to change with those respective houses that you've selected, so you can play with that to make sure you're going where you want to. All right, now let's talk about what it's like at a voter's house and some best practice ideas as well. Let's say I'm at this first person. You'll see there's 2 people that live in this particular household, 2 registered voters. The target voter that you want to speak with as a member of the campaign team has a star beside their name. So I want to ask for Wendy Jerome at this particular house. So let's say that Wendy opens the door and I speak with Wendy. And maybe she says, I'm not really interested right now. Thanks for stopping by. You'll find most people are fairly polite, but that doesn't mean they necessarily want to take a survey. So we'll just mark down that she refused. On the overall list, you can see it shows that you stopped at that house, but that in this case, they refused. Let's talk about a second interaction. Either one of the people at this particular house are target voters. They have stars beside their name. So whoever comes to the door, John or Patricia, is okay to speak with. In this particular instance, let's imagine that they weren't there at all. We knocked looking for either one of them, and you ended up having just leave literature. That's okay. Just mark down leave literature. And just to let you know, these are the 2 most common interactions when going door to door. If you've never done it before, a lot of people aren't going to want to speak to you, and you're going to end up leaving a lot of literature. That's okay. It's typically between 10 and 20% of people you'll actually get a completed survey and have a conversation with. So don't get discouraged. No, that's just the way that this is for everybody that's out there doing it. It's sort of part of election work. All right, so now let's talk about an individual who we actually take a survey with. So Tommy is my target person who I want to speak with here, or Tammy, I'm sorry. So let's talk with Tammy, and we're going to mark that person down as surveyed. And then you'll see there's multiple surveys here. For the walks, just focus on the one marked walk. The other ones are for different uses, so we don't really need those at all. So just focus on walk, which is your default when you're out there walking. Start the survey for walk. Quick intro, be polite, be professional. That's one of the important things here. It is best practice to not have the phone in your hands unless it's off or in your pocket is actually preferred in a backpack. But this conversation is focused on the individual. I'm wanting to earn their trust, build a relationship, and present a good image for Travis in this scenario. So you've got a very simple script. You'll memorize that. There's nothing to say there. You're just introducing yourself and saying what you're here to do. With a good conversation, mark down what they're telling you when you leave. It is very intimidating to people to mark down this information on a phone in front of them. They'll wonder what you're doing, how they got your information, how you got their information. It's just intimidating. So best practice is not to do that in front. So this is something that you'll do when you walk away, mark down that information. The one exception to this is if the person's really interested and they're going to end up opting into communications, and they maybe provide an email address. Wonderful. I actually tend to just let the person hear, well, would you mind putting in your email address here? And they're in control of the situation. They feel a little bit better. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, obviously you can type in their email, but you've acknowledged and they've acknowledged that you're going to be exchanging emails. You can see the options here when you're walking away. Ideally, we're identifying, people who support Travis. So if that's the case, definitely mark people who support. The person opposes them or they're undecided, which you're going to see a lot of. There's still a lot of indecision with primary voters at this time. Or maybe they just tell you, you know what, I'm tired of things. I'm not even voting in the primary. That's important to document as well. So basically, whatever they're telling you, this is your opportunity when you walk away from the door to mark down those interactions. And a few things may get added to this over time. So just know there could be actually a few other things the campaign wants to grab while we're at the door with that particular person. If they do give you their email, make sure you opt them into communications so that moment is documented and stored in the system. So let's just imagine that this particular person supports Travis. Wonderful. And basically, we're going to say, that's wonderful. We're going to go ahead and complete the survey. If there's additional information on the screen that's necessary, a lot of times you're also going to see a capture info and proceed button. That's if there's multiple pages on a survey. So just be aware of that one, capture info and proceed. So in either instance, that's pretty much it. There's really only one page to fill out. You'll capture that info and then you are on to your next house. So that's pretty much how everything works in voter.mobi. If you need any questions answered, feel free to reach out to support@votergravity.com. Thanks for being with us.